All right, guys, welcome to another live thingy. Running way later, and Jesus Christ, look at that hairline. Running way later than planned, and I've got to keep this one short because Jeannie's back home soon, so she might even knock while I'm streaming. But yeah, just there's people have been talking about this recently. It's been shared on Facebook in various beer groups, and there's been discussions on it. And hello, the one viewer so far. But by the way, before I get into it, just drinking some nice Trillium double IPA action. Oh, that mouthfeel. Nah, it's clearly orange juice. Absolutely sweltering. Caught the sun again today, and now you've got 2 live videos in the space of 2 days. You lucky people. But yeah, there was this article going around from. Let me just pause the live video. It's really bizarre when you catch yourself on the live video. Let's see if I can. Should have had this up ready. Yeah, I've been rushing because I wanted to get this video done today. And apologies if any of you guys were actually waiting for this to begin. I think it was like 2 o'clock I said I'd start it, and it's now 10 to 5 in the evening. But yeah, I'm reading, and I think the guys on Lance the Lush's chat last night mentioned it. Rod J, Lance, of course, Average Joe, who, you know, catching up to that beard, Joe. Yeah, you won't be losing any sleep anytime soon. I just can't grow beards. That's a sad reality that I just can't seem to face. Who else was on there? Drunken One as well. And I think Paul from PA Brew News went on later. We're about halfway through that stream because I do like to watch those videos, and that's why I like recording them, especially when we're doing live reviews and we go for our like legendary 6 hours, as people have lovingly pointed out. But yeah, an article from a website called the Nevada County Scooper with the headline, Anheuser-Busch InBev pursuing Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, written by a person called Loretta Spilter. Is that how it's pronounced? I just got a message. Nope. And basically, I'm going to read you this article, and I'm going to talk about this article. So, Chico CA, in an announcement that is sending shockwaves through the microbrewery community, I rarely heard no one talking about this before this article. Alcohol giant Anheuser-Busch InBev is attempting to purchase Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, headquartered in Chico, CA, California. The aggressive move, which industry insiders say is needed to help the mega brewers shore up its faux line of craft microbreweries with a real one, has been met with extreme resistance by fans of the iconic Northern California beer maker. You tell my reading's terrible because I'm trying to get through this quickly. Link is down below in the description, by the way. This is the part where things start to get suspicious for me for this article. This is just terrible news, said Nevada City electrician and beer enthusiast Phil Meadows. Anheuser-Busch will ruin this great beer. They'll squeeze every penny profit they can out of it and bleed it. I suppose we'll see Sierra Nevada restaurants in airports now next to the stupid California pizza kitchens. So, of course, for an article like this, they get a truly, unique business insider who just happens to be a city electrician and beer enthusiast. Although details are slim at the moment, and Brewing Giant wants another bullet in their craft belt, according to Morgan Stanley commodity analyst Jim the Jeff Bremful, it's pretty obvious what's going on here, said Ms. Bremful on a Morgan Stanley press briefing on the attempted takeover. Anheuser-Busch has dozens of craft beers posing as microbrewery ones, and in large part, the public doesn't care as long as people can see the drinking a beer that doesn't look like Budweiser. Sierra Nevada is a real solid brand, unlike the more hipster ones like 10 Barrel Brewing, as if they would ever, formally say that in a statement. And, Blue Point Brewing and Shock Top. Those are marketing maneuvers to gain dominance over these microbreweries. Bringing Sierra Nevada into their portfolio fulfills their dominance of all things. According to sources close to Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, the proposed buyout is a non-starter, saying that the current proprietors have told Anheuser-Busch to go fuck themselves. Again, I'm sure they would vocally say that in a public forum. Moreover, the company's sustainable business practices are viewed by some as incompatible with the mega brewer. So, of course, people have been picking apart this one and discussing it because, of course, we know what Anheuser-Busch have been doing. Everyone seems to still want to talk about Wicked Weed, even though that is, quite frankly, a dead horse, and that ship has sailed as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, it's a very suspicious article because, A, I don't see any other beer websites or press in general sharing this story or taking their spin on it. And if you look at the adverts on the side of the article, in most brilliant, magnanimous move ever, North Korea bans sarcasm, which will totally help their image. VA creates death squads to lower healthcare costs. Clinton coin toss decides between Goldman Sachs and Pittsburgh woman. And Penn Valley, CA man responds to President Obama. If that was not a warning sign, I don't know what is. But just in case people still think this is an actual story, when you click on the author's name, Loretta Spilter, let me just read you out a few of the headlines of the articles that she has written. And she's the media and cultural editor. So, first article, Flat Earth Society releases Flat Earth Beach Ball. What else do we have here? You can read all of this for yourself. Passion of the Christ movie to be made into a Lego movie. And it's got a photo of Jesus Christ as Lego. EPA abandons chemtrail cleanup program following Trump budget cuts. This is my, I know this is one to do with Chris Christie, the fat arsehole in America. Let's see. Here's my favourite. No, that's another one. Bush rushes Geddy Lee gigs as one-man band at Area Mall. Just these headlines are insane. And this is my favourite. Labour activists stop Chinese puffed rice production. And it's got a photo of an Asian woman in the backdrop of a rice factory with a straw in a handful of rice blowing into it. This is clearly a satirical website. And in this socio-economic political climate, of course, people read just one article from a website like this and they take it as, you know, they just absorb it all in and believe it completely. It just, it's a massive troll, and it's a really damn good one, actually. They've done a really good job with this because, you know, fake news, I hate that term. It's so childish when you hear like President Trump saying it and media saying it. Fake news, that's like what a child who's losing an argument would say. And, you know, with the websites like The Onion, and who have spawned countless websites like this, it's beggars belief that people actually read this, ingest it, and then genuinely get shocked. The good thing is it has sparked discussion. It's sparked that sort of like what if scenario with Sierra Nevada. I don't think the guys at Sierra Nevada need the financial support of someone like AB InBev. I think Sierra Nevada are doing pretty damn okay, to be honest. You know, one of the bigger American craft brews, they've, you know, just the use of technology and renewable energy and things like that alone, and the amount of stuff that they're doing in that regard, countless amounts of money invested in that. They've got, I think it's 2 production breweries now, and you can get their beers pretty much all over the world. You know, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale one of the best beers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. I don't think Sierra Nevada would ever need to get in bed with AB InBev. But that being said, so what if they did? And I could go on a big diatribe about my thoughts, opinions on the outcry and the tears and the anguish that arises when we hear of a brewery getting taken over by a bigger corporation. And then people are, oh, capitalism. That's not capitalism. The definition that we have, specifically millennials, like myself, their definition of capitalism is such a jaded and distorted one that has been taught through the school system. And of course, the government's, one of their worst enemies is capitalism. I'm not going to go into all that. It's a completely different sort of debate. But, gentrification, it's like, fucking give me a break, seriously. My point with this video is this is just clearly a well-executed and researched piece of satirical, topical information. It's the fact that they quoted a fucking electrician who just happens to be a beer enthusiast as their talking head on the piece. And if you read the articles on this website, really well done, actually. I don't usually like websites like this because they just don't do anything. The humor it always misses the mark. But this is, labor activists, stop Chinese puffed rice production. It's just a work of genius. And unfortunately, people have fallen into the trap with this. And it's like that video that was going around from one of those Facebook pages, like something of the ones of share this or something where it's like 2 blocks, multicolored blocks with writing in them. And there was a video going around of the racist history of the IPA. And again, people just lapped that up. They thought, oh God, people are now telling us that IPAs are racist, the SJWs, who are a threat, by the way. The SJWs have gone mad, they've infected my beer, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, just think about what you're reading. Think about what you're watching. Think about the discussions that you're having or the things that you're being told. Because it's a theme that I've talked about time and time again. People are just fucking dumb. And it was great to see the genuine outcry of people who are like, oh, Sierra Nevada would never do this. If they do it, I'm going to completely turn my back on them. No, you won't. You'll say that in your public forums, but you're all still drinking stuff like Goose Island. You're still, interested in some of the beers that Wicked Weed are going to be producing. It's just you're keeping a bit quiet, and you're scared of the backlash that you'll get. And again, it's like, so what if Sierra Nevada would get into bed with AB InBev? Yeah, it'd be sad, because you'd like to think that Sierra Nevada, they're one of the pioneers. They're one of the truly independent, bigger craft breweries. They've not gone into the worldwide sort of like having facilities all over the world. They're not going into the hospitality business like Brewdog or Stoner, which again, I have no problem with that at all. I don't begrudge any businessman or artist or producer who starts off small and then gets big. That's why you kind of get into these industries in general. And I think it's bullshit when you get these brewers who are like, oh, it's all about the people around me. It's all about my local community. It's all about the local drinkers and that sort of thing. If you give somebody the right amount of money, because you don't know their circumstances, Yeah, they're not going to be shouting out, "Oh, I'm such a," you know, I'm in real financial woes, or my family are not interested in carrying the business on and that sort of thing. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and even the breweries like Sierra Nevada, who I personally don't think they will ever get into bed with AB InBev, because they just don't need it. They won't get anything out of it. They've got great distribution. They've got great reach in general. They've got a really solid brand and world presence. They're bringing out a lot of interesting beers. Of course, being here in Germany, it's quite a struggle to get hold of stuff that isn't just like the stout porter, Keller Weiss, or the pale ale, or Torpedo, which Torpedo and excuse me, Torpedo and the pale ale are two beautiful beers. And yeah, it just amused me that there were people who were about to turn them back on a brewery that they've probably been supporting since they got into craft beer. And yeah, it would be sad if Sierra Nevada did accept a buyout and accept money from AB InBev, but it would be even sadder to see people turning their back because of that. And the point's been made loads of times on some of the chats I've seen. The beers that were brewed before the takeover have nothing to do with the takeover. So, that beer that you've been cellaring for like 2 years, it's not instantly just turned like magic because AB InBev now own your favorite brewery. It's still that same fantastic beer. And I know there are some people who state the claim, and I mean Tom, the beer whisperer. He's been very vocal that stuff like Lagunitas tastes completely different now than it did many years ago. I fundamentally disagree with that theory because there's really no way. There'd be only a few specific beers, more of like the beers that you could cellar and age, that you'd be able to do a comparison with. But for the core range, you just don't know, because if you had a beer from like 5 years ago and you compared it to a newly brewed beer, that beer from 5 years ago, chances are it's going to taste nowhere near as nice as this newly brewed AB InBev version of a beer. Is there a potential for the quality to dip? Of course there is. Great example, Stone Berlin. They had plenty of teething problems when they were starting to distribute the beers out of the Berlin facilities. But now the kinks have been worked out. They've done some really interesting collabs, and they're starting to brew more Berlin-specific brewed beers, which is always a good thing. But at the same time, I know some people will have a go at someone like Tom, the beer whisperer. I may not agree with his points, but at the same time, he's actually involved in the industry. So he has more at stake within the industry itself. We're just consumers. We talk with our money at the end of the day. And I can understand people would be upset, especially if you've been drinking Sierra Nevada for like 10, 20, even longer years. And, your beloved brewery gets taken over by one of the big evil conglomerates. And if you're within the industry and you see, a giant like Sierra Nevada accepting that, 20-0 check, you of course going to be concerned. But people who actually just buy the beer and drink beer, easy solution, don't buy it anymore. But yeah, I don't think people need to worry about Sierra Nevada selling out, because they just don't need to. And falling for these articles, it just does not. You could clearly tell just by reading the first paragraph or so. It's bullshit. It's parody. It's satire. Nothing more, nothing less. And it's been done in such a convincing way that people are believing it. I saw people, I was writing on Facebook like, I'll never buy Sierra Nevada again if this goes through, and blah, 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 blah. Just calm down. Everything's going to be okay. And worst case scenario is you've got thousands of other breweries at your disposal who you can give your hard-earned money to. So yeah, that was my little video on this topic and this article. Interesting read, and yeah, I'm not having a go at people who've read it and who have debated it and things like that, because it does bring up good talking points about the landscape of craft beer and things like that, and it does, you know, start up discussion. But yeah, I'm so red. Look how red I am. Anyway, guys, if you have read the article and you've got any thoughts, opinions on it, let me know in the comments. Am I completely wrong? Have I missed the point with this one? Let me know in the comments. Don't think I had anybody commenting live, although I've got one viewer apparently, but that could just be me because I'm looking at the watch page. But I do these more for the actual, it saves me having to record a video on my camera and then upload, you know, transfer it over to the laptop and then upload it. So it's just easier for me to do it this way. So I get more out of this. Unless I've got people talking to me live, then it's the comments afterwards that are much more in order, and the potential discussion. So yeah, just give me your thoughts, opinions. Could you ever see someone like Sierra Nevada selling out to the big boys? And if it was to happen, theoretically, how would you respond? Would you still buy the beers? You know, if you're a massive fan of like the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, it's one of those beers that it's always in your fridge. Would it always still be in your fridge if something like that was to happen? And if you've got any other examples of some really good satirical pieces in regards to beer, I'd love to read them, because that was just, to me, that was so beautifully executed. And if you believed it, you're a cuckold. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to enjoy what I'm imagining a Trillium beer would taste like. So nice. And yeah, thank you all for watching. And I shall hopefully see you later. Cheers.